Welcome back to my channel. My name is Deanna, and today we're going to be getting into the things you need to know before going into the social work profession. Okay, so one of the things you need to know is that social work is more than case management. Social work is a very versatile profession, so you can work in almost any field that you would like to work in, and it doesn't have to be on that one-on-one situation. You can work with families, you can work in the community. You also have opportunities to work in criminal justice or in the medical fields as well, like in hospitals or with the elderly and in those avenues. But also it's important just not to limit yourself when it comes to social work. Being that we're such a vast field of opportunity, you can one day go from working with families to another day working with elderly. Well, not a day, but you can diversify what you're doing, and you can change your mind at any time. The second thing that you need to know is change does not happen overnight in the social work field. I know a lot of people get into the field and they want to make changes and they want that immediate shift in how people think, how people view things. But unfortunately, that does not happen. Change takes time. It takes going back to the board. You may not get it perfect the first time. So rethinking your ideas and coming back to the table with new ideas. And sometimes you may start the process and somebody else may have to finish it for you. It's just almost how like anything is. Understanding that it's important to be patient when you're in this field, because things can get frustrating and you may want change to happen immediately, but unfortunately it doesn't happen like that. So just trust the process. Remember what you're working towards. Eventually you'll start to see change that you want to see. The third important thing that you need to know is to know how to listen, to understand, and not to respond. In the field of social work, you're doing a lot of talking to people, getting to know their story, understanding who they are as a person. These people are the experts in their situation. So understanding that, recognizing that, allows for you to take a step back and not being so quick to want to find a solution, wanting to respond. Just taking time, listening to everything overall and the overarching themes about what's going on can be so helpful. In this profession, you have to use your active listening skills. People will only tell you things if they feel like you are listening to them. Okay? In order to create those bonds and with people and to get them to open up to you, you have to listen. Like active listening skills, nodding your head, smiling or not smiling, conveying that emotion that helps best connect you with them, leaning forward a little bit, telling oh okay, nodding your head. That is showing that you're actually listening and engaged in the conversation, because if you just look like this, they're not going to do that. So, and also people can tell when you're just listening to respond and not listening and not understanding what they're actually saying. So it's important that you sit in that. Just think about what they've told you. Take a couple seconds, and then just, if you need clarification, ask clarifying questions. It's important that as social workers we understand so we can best support them the way they need to be, instead of doing things are how we want things to go. The fourth thing that you need to know, that it is not your job to save people. That is so important when going into the social work field, because burnout is real, okay? You can be so focused on wanting to provide somebody all these resources that they need and trying to get them everything that they need, but if they do not want that for themselves, then nothing is going to work. They have to want it, and you can't just want it for them. Something that I mentioned, burnout is real. Something that we focus on highly in social work is how to prevent burnout, because it's such a high stress and high emotional field, because you're working with people, and that encounters everything that encompasses people. The ups, the downs, the good and the bad, So understanding how to navigate that, and what we do to help with burnout is self-care. And you will hear that a lot. Taking care of yourself, making yourself a priority, trying to find those boundaries where it's like, okay, this is work, is over here, and this is home, is here. Now it's kind of hard given that we're in quarantine, and more than likely most people are working from home. So finding that separation, finding things to do in between those times that says like, okay, the work day is done and now I'm just relaxing. Finding those things that when you feel those overwhelming emotions, finding ways to combat those. So maybe I need to go outside for fresh air. Maybe I need to do a couple exercises. I don't know, get my endorphins going. Maybe you need a friend that you can call. So finding things to help navigate that burnout and taking care of yourself, because you are a priority. Because if you are not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of others. And I'm gonna say it again, we're people's profession, so you're gonna be dealing with people about every day. The fifth and last thing that I would say is that you need to know is important is being passionate about what you're doing and getting creative with it. Like, being that social work is so vast and you have so many options, you can have fun with it. Don't let people say that you need to stick. It's not a certain track that you have to stick with in social work. You can do almost anything. Get creative with it. Don't let anybody tell you that you're overreaching or you're trying to do too much and it's not possible, because you never know. It's always trial and error in almost anything. But the thing is, in social work, you have those options to learn and to grow. Understanding that you have to love what you're doing. Passion has to be there, because if not, you find yourself kind of doing things for the wrong reasons. And that's where it goes back to it's not your job to save people. If you're going in it to save people, then that is where things can get tricky, because it's not about your agenda. So getting creative, like, I cannot tell you how many plans I have in my head for what I want to do, and the list keeps growing and growing. Being passionate and creative about what you're doing allows you to see things differently, and you get excited when you learn new things. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I'm like, oh, maybe I want to do this, but maybe I want to do this, or can I just do it all? Like, finding those opportunities, or even just creating them yourself, can be helpful. Those are the 5 things that I think you need to know before becoming a social worker or going to the social work profession. Those are some things that made me want to go into the profession, and it's continuing to motivate me as I go throughout it and as I go through this master's program. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.